Come, let us explore this Dusk's meditation class and group practice, that we too could meditate like a Jedi. This evening's class is based upon the 22nd verse of the Unwaning Victory Banner, a meditation classic composed by the great Buddhist reformer Prahevajra. Together let us relaxingly recite. Since the conventional, authentic condition is just like that is taught, so that one realizes it as that. As ultimately it is the very essence, everything arises from it. Emaho, oh how wonderful. So this is going to make much more sense if I spend a minute or two reviewing the basics. Sturgeon's Law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks. That suckiness is known by many names. Some would call it patriarchy, some would call it yang, some would call it being on the right. Most of us were indoctrinated to be rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel. Some people would say this is following in the footsteps of the Buddha's foolish cousin, Devadatta. So the majority of meditation teachers are going to be this way. These are the people who are going to implore us to over-focus and over-analyze. They might use fancy terms like contemplation or concentration. They might use other fancy terms like samatha or vipassana. The only way to perform those activities are to rely upon both the medial and dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. Overworking that area will induce us to present with symptoms of depression, as well as trigger our amygdala, the seat of both anxiety and aggression. To me, that sounds like a very bad time. Fortunately, neither the amygdala nor the prefrontal cortex constitute the entirety of our central nervous system. Consider, if you will, our autonomic nervous system that the ancients nicknamed our Buddha nature. Our autonomic nervous system consists of our spinal cord. The middle bit is known as the sympathetic aspect, and the bookends are called the parasympathetic aspect. Every time we inhale, we are wired to notice in a very special way, vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. Because it's random, we notice all manner of phenomena, from the external to the internal, from the physical to the mental, from the pleasurable to the painful, from the interesting to the boring, from the glorious to the grotesque. With every inhalation, we are wired to notice mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. But what do we do with all that stuff that we noticed? Every time we exhale, we are wired to physically relax and mentally release to such a degree that all that we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel less stressful, less permanent, and less defining. And if you prefer figurative language, as we relax into our exhalation, that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void, like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although could look tantalizing to the eye, feels non-graspable to the hand. The most efficient way for us to passively cooperate with our autonomic nervous system is for us to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during each inhalation, and for us to silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation. This is the key to passive, random, and automatic practice of mindfulness and meditation. Now that we've got a good bead on the basics, let's return to this evening's lesson text. Since the conventional, authentic condition is just like that. So, what is the authentic condition? The authentic condition is whatever we perceive, whatever sights we perceive, be they ugly or beautiful, whatever sounds we perceive, be they melodious or discordant, whatever sensations we perceive, be they pleasurable or painful, whatever flavors we experience, whatever flavors we taste, be they delicious or disgusting, whatever scents we smell, be they fragrant or foul. The authentic condition, the authentic condition also refers to our internal experience, the full spectrum of human emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. The full spectrum. It takes great courage to be honest with ourselves. Sometimes what we experience in the moment is glorious. Sometimes it's grotesque. Sometimes it's interesting. Sometimes it's boring. It takes courage to be honest with ourselves. A nickname for what we perceive during our inhalation could be that in the context of this lesson. As ultimately it is the very essence, everything arises from it. Regardless of whatever dualities we experience during our inhalation, whatever pleasures and pains, whatever interests or dullness we perceive, as we relax into our exhalation, it could feel like it's melting into intangibility. And no, that's not a permanent intangibility. It's fleeting. It lasts at most the length of our exhalation. And then when we start breathing in again, the whole cycle continues. But the nice thing about this quirk of evolution is it can break the momentum of perception. For instance, we could feel great rage one moment, but once we relax into our exhalation, there's a brief interruption of that rage, which can help us not to play the fool, which can help us to notice an impulse without being a slave to our impulse. Not intellectually, but viscerally, which is very, very useful. So what happens is that it and that, and I'm gonna play a game here. This is what I call. I'm going to adapt the text and write this instead, just to keep everything congruent, because that's how I roll. Back in the 90s, or the late 80s, it's tough to tell. In the late 80s or early 90s, my favorite lineup of Faith No More sang a song called Epic. And one of the lines was, "What is this? What is this?" And we thought that was absolutely brilliant back then. But that brings me to it and this. And so as we inhale, we perceive life very literally. As we relax into our exhalation, we perceive life more figuratively. As we breathe in, we experience duality. As we relax into our exhalation, we sample non-duality. And it's the same universe, it's the same planet, it's the same body, but there's two very, very different experiences, just based upon which portion of our spinal cord we're plugging into at any given moment. And that is not a flaw of our evolution. That is a feature. It helps free us from the tyranny of momentum. Now, there are sports guys and there are movie guys. I'm a movie guy. So I am not unfamiliar with the phrase persistence of vision. And what that means is there is an illusion that when you have a bunch of stills moving in front of your eyes at a certain speed, all of a sudden it doesn't look like a bunch of stills, it looks like a movie. And as we go through life, something similar happens. Our persistence of vision is flipping and flopping between this and it, and just going back and forth between the conventional and the ultimate. But it's the key to freeing us from the tyranny of our own perceptions, emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. An adult, just like a child, can imagine a monster. But 9 times out of 10, a child can be controlled by that facet of their imagination, whereas a healthy adult isn't controlled. The key to our mental health is in playing with the perceptions of our inhalation and the release of our exhalation. Oh, how wonderful. And emaho, that's just the Tibetan way of saying, oh, how wonderful. The wonderful part is not that things are different when we inhale than when we exhale. The wonderful part is that this quirk is beneficial and useful and therapeutic and automatic. We don't have to force it. We don't have to believe in it. We don't have to understand it. We just have to cooperate with it vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. Having concluded this evening's opening lesson, let us now shift gears. It is Obi-Wan Kenobi Wednesday evening. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi after approximately 30 seconds. This is the Dzogchen Semde Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I have harnessed my autistic special interests as well as my ADHD hyperfocus so that I could spend about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that I could become your personal, nerdy, neurodivergent guide to nirvana. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. For the remainder of this evening's live stream, we can play with the latest iteration of our practice text. By the way, both the opening teaching template as well as the practice text are available for free download. Everything I do is free. I'm silly that way. Pardon me. And we're back. So let the profile of her spine gently describe an arc as we see demonstrated at the Kamakura Buddha statue, also known as Kamakura Daibutsu. Let us keep track of our first collection of 144 inhalations by resting the first knuckle on our right index finger upon the tip of our left index finger, palms up in our lap. Upon the forefingers of our right hand, we can count upon the 3 creases of each of our 4 fingers of our right hand. We could keep track of our 4 inhalations 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Upon the 3 creases of each of our 4 left fingers, we could keep track of the 12 sets of 12 sets of 12 inhalations each. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist philosophy or meditation, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window, for I tend to check for questions approximately every 13 minutes or so. To keep track of our second collection of 144 inhalations, we could rest our right index finger's second knuckle upon the tip of our left index finger's tip, palms up in our lap. We could keep track of our next 12 inhalations upon the 3 creases of each of our right fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Upon the 3 creases of each of our left 4 fingers, we could count 12 sets of 12 inhalations each. We could begin counting our second collection of 144 inhalations by resting the third knuckle of our right index finger, palm the tip of our left index finger, palms up in our lap. Upon the three creases of each of our right four fingers, we could count 12 inhalations. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 11 hours, I would very much like to return to lead tomorrow's dawn meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.